We start seeing a boy very close to a classmate. He is Wataru, and the girl we see is Aika Natsukawa, his platonic love. While chasing her, he almost gets a ball in the face, a fact that will make him reflect on his actions. The next day, Sajo arrives at school with a different attitude, so different that everyone instantly notices the change. He no longer harasses Aika. During lunch, unlike other days, Sajo goes to eat at a place far away instead of where he would meet a girl, Rina Aizawa. She is from the class next door, but Sajo is quite polite, and because of this the girl leaves. Rina seems to be interested in Sajo, as she goes to look for him in her classroom to talk to him. While that was going on, Aika, the girl that Sajo was harassing, and her best friend Kei Ashida, come to the classroom and see them, and Aika's reaction goes as if she is upset with Sajo for what she saw, and for part of the day she ignores him. Later, while Sajo was drinking water, she is approached by Kei, calling him an unfaithful womanizer for what they saw earlier, and also tells him about Rina, since she is known as the girl madly in love with a boy named Aramura, with whom she had a relationship since early high school. Then the protagonist goes to look for the boyfriend, to his classroom, and overhears a conversation where he says that his type of girl is like Aika. Sajo keeps thinking about what he heard while talking with Aika and Rei, but Rina appears and interrupts them because she wanted to talk to Sajo. Then Kei, totally without filters, starts asking about her ex-boyfriend, saying hurtful things, and Rina gets uncomfortable and leaves the room. Sajo follows her, but bumps into a girl and she runs away scared. When Sajo catches up with her, she apologizes for what happened. To ease the matter, Sajo tells her that after receiving so many rejections from Aika, her heart grew cold. Rina also comes clean and says that she broke up with her boyfriend because he said she wasn't his type, which makes sense with what Sajo heard. This made him angry, and so she tried to get revenge by trying to date Sajo. In order for her not to feel bad, Sajo tells her how a girl rejected him, making hurtful comments. Even the girl's boyfriend showed up and hit him, making him fly and collide with Aika. That's where his love for her began, because he saw her kindness and started to idealize her. Sajo already accepted that they can't have anything, but he wants the best for her and wants her to be happy. The conversation revives Rina, even if it didn't make much sense. As she was leaving, Sajo tells her that all men are the same, but Rina says she already knew that. Then Aika and Rei see that Rina is back with her boyfriend. Rei teases because it meant that she rejected Sajo, but Aika prefers to keep quiet. When they go to talk to Sajo, he says that he is happy for the memories he created with Rina and that he doesn't feel bad that they didn't get anything else together. This attitude surprises even more since he doesn't seem like the usual Sajo. At night, Sajo reflects on the ridiculousness he was doing with Aika, and the doorbell rings. It turns out to be Aika. She asks him about his change of attitude throughout the day, because he was basically avoiding her that day. While they were talking, Sajo's sister Kaide arrives and eavesdrops on them. Sajo asks her if they could be boyfriend and girlfriend, and she turns him down. He was already expecting that answer. Then Kaide interrupts them and pretends to be shocked, saying that it was impossible for Sajo to have such a pretty girlfriend. But Sajo says that they are not dating and were talking about other things. Aika recognizes Kaide as a member of the student council. Later, Sajo walks Aika home and tells her that he will no longer harass her and that he hopes they will be classmates, and jokes that he will introduce her to a friend. But Aika gets angry and runs away. The next day, Sajo sits away from Aika, because Sajo was always glued to Aika. No other classmate would approach them. That's why the only friend Aika had was Rei. But now she was moving away, Aika would have more friends, which Sajo sees as a way to support her. While Sajo was going up the stairs, he met Rin Shinomiya, president of the Morality and Discipline Committee. She asks him about Yuya, the girl who crashed while chasing Rina, and claims him for scaring her. The protagonist apologizes and mentions he wasn't a guy with enough standard to talk to a girl that way. After apologizing, Sajo wants to leave, but Rin stops him by telling him that he seems to have low self-esteem. She tells him that Yuya has an insecurity and a great rejection with men regardless of who he is. She just wanted to know if he had bad intentions or something, but by his attitude she saw that he did not. After that, Rin asks him to accompany her to the student counseling room. There she tells him that Yuya is a serious, hard-working and honest person, as well as all the members of the committee, but sometimes they tend to be pessimistic and distrustful. She is worried because even though she tries to encourage them, they respond by telling her that she cannot understand them because she is on another level. Sajo says she identifies with them and gives her a solution, telling them, "Don't let it get to you," with a pat. They don't want her to sympathize with them and try to lower herself to their level. They want a positive leader to guide them, and receiving a pat from her will motivate them since they see her as a goddess. When saying goodbye, Rin asks Sajo his name, but he does not tell her his real name, but Yamazaki, who would be like his best friend. The next day, leaving her house, Kaide asks Sajo about Aika and he says that she is just his classmate. Then Kaide tells him that with that attitude he does not conquer anyone and just meets Aika. Kaide forces the conversation between them, but in the end nothing happens. Arriving at school, Rei looks for Sajo because he says that Rin was looking for him and was upset. It turns out that he was given a false name. Rin was with Yuya and they both approach Sajo to summon him at lunch to talk. When they leave, Yamazaki claims Sajo for impersonating him, and Sajo says that Rin was the kind of girl that Yamazaki likes, so he did him a favor. At lunch, Rin confronts Sajo for lying about his name. Sajo defends himself by saying that he thought that having a person on the committee remember his name might get him in trouble. Rin tells him that he was then putting the onus on someone else, and Sajo replies that that person was happy to take it on himself. Rin didn't understand what he meant, but Yuya did, and explains that Yamazaki would be delighted because Rin was beautiful, which makes Rin too embarrassed. In the end, Sajo ends up apologizing and promises not to do it again and gets up to leave. But Yuya stops him because that wasn't the main reason for the meeting. Actually, Yuya wanted to apologize to him because when they collided and he offered to help her, she ran off, trampling on his kindness, and apologizes for it. She also tells him that she's going to work on her to fix her insecurity. Sajo, hearing her, tells her not to worry and leaves. Coming back from the living room, Kei stops Sajo to see a group of girls was talking to Aika. Seeing this, Sajo gets excited as if he was a father seeing his daughter and thinks that by staying away he was supporting Aika to have friends, so he decides to stay out of it. Sajo then receives several messages from his sister telling him to go to the student council room urgently. Once in the room, it turns out that they were very busy in the council and needed his help with some administrative stuff. And then we are introduced to the council members, but we still don't know much about them. Sajo does a good job that impresses the council, and he asks his sister if she would still ask for his help, and she convinces him by offering him an adult magazine, the big one, and they agree to meet tomorrow morning. In another scene, we see Yuya and Rin talking, and Yuya mentions that it seemed like Sajo seemed disappointed with the apology he gave her, to which Rin takes the opportunity to use Sajo's advice and put his hand on her shoulder and tell her that it's all good. Aika's new friends want to go to her house to meet her little sister and invite several people from the salon, including Sajo. In the end, they agree to go next weekend. Sajo doesn't want to go to Aika's house, and when he is leaving, she approaches him to ask him if he is going to go or not. But Rin appears and interrupts them because she wanted to talk to Sajo. She wanted to thank him for the advice he gave her since it had helped her, but she also wanted to ask him about what he thought of Yuya's apology. Sajo tells her that he felt that Yuya's apology was not for him, but that she had had enough of his ways after realizing how he trampled on someone's kindness because of his insecurities, and that he was using that fact as a springboard to better himself. Rin tells him that he is very good at analyzing people, and Sajo realizes that before he only noticed only one person, and that's why he had never noticed. Summer arrives and it's hot as shit. In the end, Sajo didn't go out, Kei reviews the pictures of that day and sees that in one of them Aika appears sad. Aika starts to have more friends. Sajo thinks that if he gets close to Aika again he will stop having them, and that's why he doesn't want to do it, even though Kei doesn't stop pressuring him. After playing soccer while Sasaki told him about the weekend outing, Sajo receives a message from Kaide telling him not to go to the council anymore, and it seems that something is going on between them, since they didn't talk all weekend. During lunch, while Sajo was eating, Yamasaki appears and forces him to go to a group of girls who start talking all tonal. While they were talking, Aika appears and pulls Sajo furious and takes him to the music room where she corners him against the wall. Compulsive possessive jealous mode, but quite shy. She asks Sajo why he was with those girls. Sajo realizes that she is jealous, but when he faces her she runs away, denying it quite tenderly and leaving many questions. While Sajo was reflecting on what happened, Yuki, the president of the council, appears and asks him to accompany him. He takes him to a room where he asks him to do a self-evaluation. Sajo tells him that he is an ordinary person. Yuki asks him about his change of attitude with Aika, as he knew he had been in love with her for a long time. Sajo only says that he stopped doing things that were not right but does not give reasons. Yuki asks him if he has told his sister the reasons, and Sajo says that she doesn't show any interest in him and doesn't care about those things. Yuki then tells him that his sister was worried because she thinks that she caused his change because she always denigrated him since he was little and told him that he was ordinary. Sajo says that this is not true and that he is going to talk to her, and Yuki takes him to a place they had already agreed to meet. As they walk to the place, they emphasize that the president is quite handsome, and he mentions that thanks to that he had a bitter experience and hit rock bottom, but that his sister rescued him. Then they meet on the rooftop. Sajo asks Kaide why she was depressed. She doesn't say anything, and then he asks her to say 10 good things about him. Despite her efforts, Kaide can't say anything good about Sajo, so he asks her to say 10 ordinary things about him, and Kaide is able to say several. Then Sajo says that this is what he really thinks and not to try to act differently, and that his changes with Aika were by his own decision. Then Kaide tells that there was a person that she stopped loving and ended up collapsing, and that she thinks that will happen to Sajo. So she tells him that he should trust himself and that he will be a better sister. Then Sajo gets upset and shuts her up, because she is not a nice girl, but a girl who overexcites him while she lies on the couch eating scones. That's the version he likes and doesn't want her to let him be herself. But while he was talking, suddenly Aika enters the rooftop shouting and complaining to him for treating his sister badly, saying he was rude. Sajo asks how long they had been listening. Rei says they only heard the end, but that was a lie because when Sajo asks Aika what they were doing there, she realizes that she was following him the whole time unconsciously. Realizing this, she gets embarrassed and runs away again. After that, Kaide is back to her old self, and in the evening, Sajo brings her some buns and apologizes for being rude to her, but in the end they end up fighting and she grabs a bat and it ends in violence. Aika feels sad about Sajo's change. Rei thinks she feels this way because he is important to her and says she has to start making an effort too. Since Sajo no longer feels he has to make an effort to look good for Aika, he has left his hair in a bad state. During lunch, Sajo sees that the tables by the windows are free, so he sits there for lunch. But he hadn't noticed that next to them were sitting Rin, Yuya, and one more girl from the committee. Yuya invites him to sit down and he notices that she has a different attitude than before. The girl's name is Aya and she is Yuya's childhood best friend, but she seems to have a cold attitude. After eating, Rin talks to Sajo to thank him for being the starting point in Yuya's change, as her experience with him made her realize that men can be kind. And she also thanks him for the advice he gave her on how to treat her committee, as it also helped Yuya. In the living room, Sasaki has to talk to Sajo and they go to the bathrooms. It turns out that he is in love with Aika, but surprisingly, Sajo says that Aika is free to choose whoever she wants. Sajo knew that day would inevitably come. Aika is a cute girl who attracts a lot of guys. He realizes that Sasaki was a boy on Aika's level and she seemed to have fun with him, so he was right to stay away from her. Sajo starts to see Sasaki and Aika spending more time together and even sees them leaving together with Rei from school. While Sajo was looking at his locker to leave, Aika talks to him from behind. It turns out that he had forgotten something and had to go back. She asks him why he didn't have lunch with them anymore, and interrogates him about where he ate that day. He tells her that he ate with the committee. She asks him if he will eat with them again, and Sajo continues with the idea of staying away from Aika because it is better for him, so he tells her in a very cold way, "I don't want to," and changes the subject quickly. While they were going down the stairs, Aika notices Sajo's hair and tells him that he should take more care of it. He says that he was thinking of dyeing it some color and asks her which one would look better if black or brown, and she gets too close to him to analyze his hair and tells him that both, but that if at that time it had been dark he wouldn't have talked to her, referring to when they met. In the end, Sajo finds a dark brown dye, which his sister helps him to put it on with a lot of love, and also gives him some advice on how to take care of it. The results of the midterm exam are out. Sajo went from being in the top 50 to 65th. Now that he no longer has to impress Aika, he no longer has the motivation to get good grades. Aika came in second place, which reminds Sajo that before she was in 27th place and he was in 32nd place, so he thinks that it also hurt her studies. And while he was walking, he meets her, and she notices that he dyed his hair. Summer vacation is near, and the girls are thinking about what to do. Suddenly they start talking about Sajo, saying that he used to be a singer, but out of nowhere he changed, but they don't come to any conclusion. Sajo sneezes as he walks out of the room while thinking about how people notice everything. A group of girls were looking at the scoreboard. One of them is Marika. Marika is the foreigner who came first. She comes from an aristocratic family, but she behaves like a spoiled child. They were talking about Aika. Apparently they wanted her for something, and for this Sajo confronts them and makes fun of them for being spoiled girls, and also sneezes again. It was raining pretty hard. While walking, they end up meeting Aika and Sajo. Sajo greets her and quickly leaves. Aika tries to follow him, and a truck almost runs her over. But Sajo manages to save her, but ends up getting her whole uniform wet. Sajo feels pretty bad and ends up passing out in his folder, but the others think he just fell asleep. He wakes up in the middle of history class and the teacher calls him out for falling asleep, but Sajo was feeling pretty bad, so he asks permission to go to the infirmary, but when he gets up, he ends up fainting when he tries to open the door. Once in the infirmary, Aika and Rei ask the nurse what had happened to Sajo. She replies that he just had a fever and would be fine soon. She lets them see him, but he was asleep, so they go back to their classroom. When Sajo wakes up, the nurse tells him that he had a temperature of 38.6 degrees, but that what caused him to collapse was actually the mental fatigue he was feeling. Aika keeps thinking about Sajo and is quite anxious, but then Rin arrives at the salon because she had some business with Sajo, and all the girls admire her. As she didn't find Sajo, Rei tells her what happened. So Rin says that she is going to tell Sajo's sister and leaves. Rei stays admiring Rin like all the girls, and the only one who doesn't is Aika. Back in the infirmary, the nurse wasn't there, so they go straight to see Sajo and find him awake looking at the window. He apologizes for the trouble he caused, but he doesn't give more explanations, and there he stays. Aika tries to touch him, but he doesn't let her, giving her any excuse. But then for his sister and Rin, if he lets him, then Aika is left thinking. The next day, Sajo misses class. Aika and Rei go to visit him because Sajo had written a message as if he was going to die in the classroom chat and stopped answering, and everyone thought that something happened to him, but he had just fallen asleep. Aika felt guilty because Sajo got sick because he got wet saving her. That's why she wanted to go to see him, but even though she was embarrassed, she left quickly. Marika goes to talk to Aika. She wants to run for council president, and wants Aika to be the face of her campaign. But Sajo tells her that it won't work because Aika would end up overshadowing her, and after a lot of back and forth, she says that Aika is prettier than her and that's why she would be overshadowed. Aika is petrified, red as a tomato because of what Sajo said. He said it in the moment. Perfect situation. When she finally reacts, she runs away again. New day. Lunchtime. Sajo was looking for a place to eat until Yuya invites him to sit at the committee's table. They called him because they want him to join the committee because they have few men, and besides most of the women who sign up do it just for status and don't do anything. So they give him time to think about it. Then the situation goes on as normal until a misunderstanding happens between Sajo and Yuya, which makes the other two get mad at Sajo and beat him up. Due to the beating, Sajo gets disheveled and Aika notices this, and fixes it by getting very close to him and creating a tender scene until Aika gets embarrassed, but at least this time he doesn't run away. During the vacations, there will be a guided tour of the school. The thing is that they need 2 members of the class to help, so they decide to make a Yan Kenpo among those who have no activities during the vacations, including Sajo and Aika. Sajo is saved, and Aika and one more random boy are left, but Sasaki asks the boy to give him his place, and he accepts because he had a crash course in summer. Sajo is a bit affected by this, but ends up not giving it any importance. Sajo gets a job at a used bookstore, and it's pretty good. While he was sweeping outside, he notices a boy being bullied in an alley and goes to help him. Without applying violence, he saves him. The boy's name is Sasaki Kota, but there is no indication that he is related to Sasaki that Sajo knows. He then asks the boy for his home number, and his sister, whom we will call Sasaki-san, comes to pick him up. As soon as Sajo looks at Sasaki-san, he feels a crush at first sight. She was something he had never seen before, a college girl, and he ends up thinking about her all day long. At home, Kaide asks him if he is going to accept the proposal of the committee, because she wanted him to belong to the council since she would feel that she left him in good hands. Sajo thought she was joking, but it was serious, and also gives him time to think about it. While he was at work, Sasaki-san goes to visit him. Sajo gladly goes to attend her, and they start talking about their schools. It turns out that she goes to an all-girls school, and the more they talk the more Sajo is attracted by the maturity she shows. She leaves him a gift as a thank you. When he opens it, he realizes it was a handkerchief, but it looked like a handkerchief for a boy. Then Sasaki-san starts going to the store more often. In this case, it was to show him the bracelet she had made with her dad in a store. Sajo is surprised that a college girl would take with her dad since it's not usually like that. She shows him the place where the bracelet was made, near the beach. Sajo thinks about giving Aika a bracelet for her birthday and decides to go to the store, and Sasaki-san accompanies him. Meanwhile, Aika and her sister Irie are going to go to the same beach, but they pass by Sajo's house and try to invite him, but he was not at home. Sajo thinks about why Sasaki-san didn't realize what it meant for them to go out alone, as they looked like a couple. They end up arriving at the store, and the girl serving them recognizes Sasaki-san from the impression she gave of being a mature girl the last time she came. They see a little bit of the store, and then they go to make a bracelet. Sajo starts thinking about what colors would look best on Aika. The girl in the store asks her if the bracelet was going to be a gift, and Sajo says yes, it was for an important person. Sasaki-san asks him if that girl is his girlfriend, but he answers that his love is not reciprocated. Then Sasaki-san says that if it is not reciprocated, why he wants to give her a gift, to which Soja answers that despite the rejection, he is still in love and Aika was a reason for his personal development, so he wants to thank her, and her birthday was the best excuse to get at least a smile out of her. Meanwhile, Rei, Aika and Irie were at the beach playing, splashing and having a good time. And suddenly they see the same store where Sajo is, and want to go buy something as a souvenir. While Sajo and Sasaki-san were creating the gift for Aika, Sajo looks at some pictures hanging on the wall of customers of the place, and there he sees a picture of Sasaki-san with his father. But there is something strange, and it is that he has a high school uniform, and it turns out that Sasaki-san is in 3rd grade, so he is between 13 and 15 years old. But she didn't look that age. Aika's gift ends up costing quite a lot because they had to cut the stones themselves. In the end, he is totally exhausted and does not finish it, and Sasaki-san asks him why if he already gave up on that person. He keeps trying hard, to which Sajo answers that he will understand when he falls in love. and says that although it seems that love was a suffering for him, in reality he learned and matured a lot thanks to him. Aika and Irie arrive at the store just when it had already closed. Just take a look, and Irie sees the pictures on the wall where there was hanging a picture of Sajo and Sasaki-san. Then they go to eat and Aika sees Sajo with Sasaki-san, but decides to think it's not him. It turns out that Sajo and Sasaki-san had to leave early because she is not allowed to stay out late. Returning, Sasaki-san says that she is afraid of when the moment of falling in love will come, but Sajo just laughs and says that it is impossible to prepare for that moment and it just comes. Sasaki-san falls asleep and Sajo receives a message from Kei, where he tells her that she is in luck and sends her some pictures of Aika in a bikini. Because Sajo will only work during his vacation at the bookstore, the owner started looking for new employees. Then a girl enters the bookstore to look for a job. She is Ichino's from Sajo's salon. She is quite shy since she is always alone in the salon and it is hard for her to talk, but she still wants to apply for the job. When Sajo tells the owner of the store about her, he instantly recognizes her. Her name is Mina, and she is a frequent buyer, a lover of books and loved by both him and his wife, which makes him hire her instantly. Then Mina starts working with Sajo, but they don't get along well, since Mina is too shy. And everything got worse when a perverted client arrived looking for erotic books and talking out of tune, which scared Mina, causing a crisis. Sajo takes care of the client, and when he leaves, he takes Mina to the owner's wife for advice on what to do in such cases. Sajo thinks that when he leaves, Mina will not be able to cope with the clients and will give a bad performance, and tries to convince the owner to fire her, but the owner does not want to because he has a strong affection for her. Then Sajo goes to talk to Mina, tries to give her advice on what to do and not to do with the clients, but ends up telling her that if she is not able to do that she should quit the job because it was not for her. Mina then bows her head and pleads with Sajo, telling him that she will do her best but not to force her to quit. Sajo quickly clears up the misunderstanding that he can't force her to quit and that he doesn't want her to quit either. The owner arrives and is glad that Mina will give her best and tells them to go home for the day, but Sajo felt bad about what he put Mina through. During the night, Aika and Kei were making a video call and had invited Sajo, but since he was at work he didn't answer them, but ended up joining. As soon as he joined, Aika turned off her camera, getting nervous. Sajo tells them what happened that day with Mina and asks for advice, but Kei gets out of the call on purpose to leave them alone, but they only talk a little and in the end Sajo hangs up first, leaving Aika with the desire to hang up. The next day, Mina had a total turnaround as she had a better performance serving customers. But there was one doubt that Sajo had, and that was the reason why Mina did not want to quit, since that was her main motivation for her change. She didn't want to get personal, but Mina ends up telling him that she wanted to separate from her brother. Her brother is the only boy in the committee. Mina says that she loves her brother, but since he got a girlfriend he stopped giving her attention. At that moment, Sajo didn't know if he should continue listening. Mina wanted to tell her brother about her feelings, and one day she arrived home determined to do it and went to look for her brother in his room and found him making out with his girlfriend. Sajo understands Mina's situation. She now wants to be independent and separate from her brother because he is already in a new stage and she does not want to be left behind. Mina is getting better day by day, and she is preparing herself for when Sajo resigns. Meanwhile, he is in charge of preparing her for all situations and also the types of clients she may encounter. Sajo has doubts about why Mina told him personal things about him, but this doubt is solved when he receives a message from the group he has with Kei and Aika. They ask him about what he told them last night. There he realizes that Mina has no friends, so she had no one to tell her things to. That's why she told them to him. The next day, at the end of their shift, Ichino's, Mina's older brother, finds them. Ichino's had a hard time finding where Mina was since no one wanted to tell him. He wanted to talk to her, but Mina didn't want to and took refuge in Sajo, who ends up proposing to go to a calmer place to talk. When they arrive, Ichino's apologizes to his sister for changing his attitude with her, since he knows that the decision to work was because of that, and proposes that they return to be like before, but Mina does not want to. since now that place belongs to his girlfriend. Ichino says that she will not interfere. Then Yuri arrives, Ichino's girlfriend. She apologizes for having taken that place and tells Mina that because of her personality she was not ready for a job. Mina says that she is ready, but her brother also thinks the same and wants her to go back to being again. Sajo intervenes, telling them that Mina was giving a good performance in her job and that it was not good for them to think that things will always be like that, since siblings have to separate as they grow up, but that does not mean the end of their relationship, and Mina can also make her own decisions with her future and ends up convincing Ichino's and his girlfriend. Kaide tells Sajo that she found out that he rejected the committee, and that Rin now felt dissatisfaction towards him. That's why she recommends him to go and help in the field trips that they were giving to the high school students. Sajo answers that they had already chosen 2 people to do it, but it turns out that they are only in charge of guiding the students. The committee is in charge of organizing the meetings and the heavy work. Kaide lends him her cell phone so he can call Rin and offer to help. He does so, and at first Rin rejects him, but after Sajo got flirtatious he ends up convincing her. The next day he goes to help since the committee is all women. The heavy work is difficult for them. While walking around the school, Sajo sees Sasaki and Aika sitting together listening to a training. He thinks they look good together, but while watching them, Sasaki notices, so Sajo quickly leaves. Then Sajo meets the committee, including Ichino's, who tells him that Mina keeps talking about him. Sasaki invites Aika to a match, but she turns him down, saying that she had to take care of her sister. This makes Aika remember how in high school she always refused outings with excuses of her family. She also remembers how she met Sajo and the first time he proposed to her, and how he began to harass her. She remembers that even though she rejected him in 1,000 ways, he was always cheerful and happy. She remembers several moments with him, even when it was time to apply to high school and he moved away, but he had moved away to study hard and enter the same high school as her. These thoughts make Aika get strange, and Sasaki asks her if she was thinking about Sajo, but she just gets a call from her sister, so she doesn't continue the conversation. Aika finally accepts it. She misses Sajo, so as soon as she realizes that he is also on campus, she starts to follow him, looks for him everywhere, looks for him in several rooms, goes up and down stairs, until she finally bumps into him head-on. Sajo asks her why she was in such a hurry. Aika tells him that she was looking for him because they hadn't seen each other for a while. His attitude is completely different. He no longer moves away from Sajo. Now he approaches him and is more interested in him. He asks him about his work, what happened with Mina, and why he was there. Then they touch the subject of the bikini picture that Sajo has of Aika. She tries to take his cell phone to delete it, but he doesn't let her and grabs her hand, and they end up very close and in a very compromising situation. But just Ray interrupts them. It turns out that she was also there for her volleyball club. So they sit down together and start talking and catching up. They talk about Kei's volleyball matches, and Aika asks him about Mina, and teases him not to start stalking her or looking for something with her. Aika notices the good times he has with his friends and tells them both they should get together more often now that they were going to be going to campus, and they both gladly agree. The next day, the high school students have arrived and the student guides begin to do their work. Aika and Sasaki got a group of girls, including Sasaki-san, and apparently their names are not the same because they use different kanji or something. Aika keeps cool with Sasaki, as she keeps rejecting him when he tells her to meet him, but they still do a good job guiding the students. When they finish the work, Sasaki-san sees Sajo and goes running to greet him. Sajo could not believe the tremendous coincidence that had formed, since he wanted to hide what happened with Sasaki-san to Aika, but her friends begin to talk about Sajo, because they knew everything that had happened between the two of them, so Sajo is exposed. When everyone leaves, Aika angrily takes him along with Ray to interrogate him. In the end, he ends up confessing everything, and in the end it is seen that it is nothing bad. But Aika is still uncomfortable about one thing, and that is the bikini picture, so she asks Sajo for his cell phone to delete it, but Sajo refuses, so Aika agrees to leave it to him if he starts dating them too. Sajo didn't expect her to ask him that and in such a tender way, and ends up agreeing delighted. The sky is cloudy, so it will probably rain, so Sajo together with Mina remove the things that were outside the store so they don't get wet. It just starts to rain, but Sajo manages to see in the distance that Aika was approaching the store. She told him that she was just passing by and Mina gives him a handkerchief to dry herself. Just at that moment, Sasaki-san arrives but Mina takes her away to leave Sajo and Aika alone. Aika gets jealous because of the relationship Sajo had with Sasaki-san and Mina, but she stumbles and Sajo saves her and they end up in a compromising situation again. The real reason she went was to ask Sajo if he was still going to go to her house. Since they had been coordinating that for the group, Sajo says that yes, he wanted to go, but he didn't know if he was going to let him after he found out about Sasaki-san. Aika tells him that she wants him to go since she wants him to be a big brother for Irie. When she says this, Sajo is surprised, but Aika changes the subject quickly. Then Kei and Sajo go to Aika's house and Sajo meets Irie and they quickly have a good connection and Irie has a lot of fun with Sajo, making him play until he gets tired. Then while they were resting, Sajo mentions about being the big brother, which causes Kei to tease and make jokes and Irie says she wants a big brother, which causes Aika to grumble at them. As soon as Sajo gets over it, Irie asks him to play again. Then Aika's mom arrives and recognizes Sajo because apparently she had heard some stories about him and that's why she was very interested in talking to him. But quickly Aika tells them that they had to leave and they leave the house, but leaving in the air that there would be a next time. While they were coming back, they start to talk about the day and Sajo asks Aika about the stories that his mother knew. Then Kei takes the opportunity to leave and leave them alone. Then they go to a park next to a lake and start talking. Aika says that lately she was enjoying her school life more, because before she didn't have many friends and now she does. Sajo apologizes because he thought that was her fault. But Aika says that it's not like that because she was always a busy girl so she was never a sociable girl and now she didn't recognize herself. But now that she has friends, she feels a void. She feels that something is missing there, and that someone is Sajo. Sajo says that if he gets in he will ruin their circle, but Aika denies it and stops and yells at him that he belongs there and she wants him to be there. Suddenly the fireworks go off and a loud noise sounds, which scares Aika and she ends up hugging Sajo in a romantic moment. She asks him to please join her again and Sajo accepts, and as they walk back, even though they were afraid, they hold hands as they walk and end up in a nice moment. Sajo ends up walking Aika home and when they say goodbye, Sajo calls her name again. Then classes have started again and Aika was waiting for Sajo at the school gate to enter together. Aika wants to help Sajo to fix his hair, but he doesn't let her, and then they enter talking and laughing as if they were a couple.